Welcome. You're back with Weekend, and John, do we have a quiz winner?
I think we do. Do we have a caller? Okay. Hi, you're on Weekend. This is John DeRousey here.
Hello.
Do you have the answer to the question?
The first part was Jane Hathaway,
That's right there.
and the second part was Irene Ryan.
I'm afraid you don't have it there, so... Well,
Well,
thanks.
I'll hang up and try again.
Okay, that's fine. Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, it looks like we're just going to have to get another caller sometime. Is that possible?
Anything could be possible. Anyway, well, let's see.
Do we have a caller yet?
No, moving right ahead. Would you like to
Okay.
introduce our next guest, John?
Yes. With us is Dr. Julie Brickley, who's a teacher of women's studies out at UWGB. And so, please welcome Dr. Brickley here.
Welcome, Dr. Brickley. What I'd like to know is, when did you start your career?
Which one?
Numerous, huh? Lady of
No,
many talents.
I was one of those traditional wife and mother until I was 35, and then I went back to school and got a master's degree and then a PhD. So I didn't start teaching until 1967. So I'm a late bloomer.
So what finally gave you the oomph to go out and get it?
My children were growing up and really didn't need me around as much as I was around, I could tell. And I felt I had to do something with the rest of my life.
Well, you did that back in the 60s then, right? Well, that's kind of a time when women were still kept in the kitchen.
My neighbors did not approve of the fact that I was going back to school and stopped my little girl to ask her why her mother was going to school. And she said because she likes to do homework.
Did you find many prejudices along the way?
When I applied for graduate school, I was told that married women with children didn't belong in graduate school. And I said, oh, and finished anyway. The only real prejudice that I encountered was, and I did not discover this myself, was that a male boss found that when a male coworker who had the same educational qualifications that I did and was teaching the same things that I was exactly was earning $3,000 a year more because he was married. Well, so was I.
That stinks.
Well, that was taken care of very quickly then, and it was a man who discovered it. It wasn't I who found it out. So that, I don't think that kind of thing really happens much anymore, at least not at the university.
Do you think men's attitudes have changed in the last 2 or 3 decades towards women like this?
To a certain extent, and I think it's pretty much generational. I think men of my generation, for the most part, find it very difficult to change. I think younger men find it somewhat easier. I'm not saying all, because some are very traditional.
How do you think the sexual revolution in the 60s has affected the relationship between men and women today?
First of all, I don't think the revolution ever took place. I think it's much more talk and much more writing about sexuality than it is actuality. But I think it's been a disaster for women because, at least what I encounter with, especially with younger women, but also with the returning adult women, is a fear that they ought to be doing something that they're not. They don't want to be a part of whatever this, quote, revolution is, and yet they feel pressured. I think for men it's simply made, if there is such a thing as casual sex, easier.
How are men receptive to women's changing roles today?
I think men are, the men who have already thought about the rigidity of their own roles are very receptive to whatever changes women are trying to make. But I think they have to have thought about how rigid the male role is first. And in my mind, it's more rigid than women's roles. Men are supposed to be macho, they succeed, all that sort of thing. And that doesn't leave them much room to try something else.
And yet you see this new trend towards men being able to cry, be able to show their feelings, stuff like that. Okay, now what about this? Do women accept that? Are they starting to accept this?
I don't think so, and I think it's really sad. I've heard too many men who are good, caring, sensitive men, that on the one hand women will say that's the kind of man they're looking for, but on the other hand they want a traditional man whom they can depend on, strong, silent, etc. Well, a man can't be both at the same time. So I think men are getting a really double message. Many men are from women these days. I'm not even sure women know that they're giving both messages though.
Okay, how does Green Bay compare to the nation in sexist attitudes? Do you think it's pretty bad, worse here, or whatever?
Oh dear. I think it's rather bad here. I think Green Bay is I think northeastern Wisconsin is a very traditional conservative area. My only real comparison is with the Madison area, and there's certainly a vast difference there. You don't see many women in non-traditional jobs in Green Bay.
You see a lot of women in Green Bay. It's kind of like the Green Bay syndrome. You graduate from high school, you get married, you have 2 kids, you get divorced, and then you end up with what? What can a woman do that's in that kind of situation and wants to try to make something out of her life?
Well, first of all, I'd start by saying no one should get married straight out of high school because none of us are old enough. But you're right, there are a lot of women like that because we do encounter a great many coming back to school or coming to school for the first time over 25 or over 30. And it's a terribly difficult time for them. Generally, they're single parents, either going through a divorce or just having been through one. They don't know what the job market is for them, and somehow they were pretty much led to believe they weren't going to have to work outside the home. That, again, back to the rigid male role, that he was going to be the sole supporter. And that's simply not happening anymore. It can't. Too many women have to work.
Right, so what can a woman do? Is there things available where she can go back to school? Are there grants or?
There are scholarships at Green Bay, I know, for returning adult men and women, although it tends to be a large majority of it's women who come back. But I also think that what women need to do is think about non-traditional women's jobs. What kinds of areas are employing at the moment, and what sorts of jobs are women getting? Computers is an obvious one. Women are supposedly more dexterous, with skills with small, I can't think of the right term, but anyway, computers would be an ideal field, but women steer away from computers all too often because they think it's like math, and math anxiety tends to be female, so therefore, I think women stay away from the sciences for the same reason. And yet, I've known a couple of really superb students who are probably the best students I've ever seen in the sciences and math. So I think women need to start thinking about what their own real interests are as opposed to what society has said this is what women ought to be interested in.
Yeah, it's almost like a catch-22 though, because you want to go back to school or you want to try to better your career or whatever, and you have 2 children, you're worried about daycare for them, and when the community doesn't provide that, you're stuck.
You're right. I have to put in a plug for UWGB. We have a superb, from the beginning, really care for the child, not just physical care, but all kinds of learning activities. But that's a very small percentage of people who can use that daycare. There are some other good centers in Green Bay, but there aren't enough. Some women don't feel right about that. There's something in them that says somehow that's wrong, which it isn't at all. A good daycare is wonderful. But I don't know how some of the women that I've known who are students make it, because they're doing, in essence, 3 full-time jobs, and yet they do it.
You think that the present political administration, and I am naming names, the Reaganomics type thinking, has an attitude on, has an effect on attitudes towards women today, and is it good, bad, indifferent, what? Go
It's
ahead,
worse
say it.
than indifferent. It's terrible. I think the Reagan administration in the last, how many years has it been? It seems like 10.
Too long.
I think they have done more things to undermine the position of women, to undermine the equality, which I really think is what women are looking for, than any political administration I've lived through. And I think they've done the same for other minorities, for handicapped, for anyone who has been who is not white male, is the way I can put it. And I think they've done it deliberately.
Do you think the old stereotypes of the women's liver, bra burning, still survive? And do you feel that these stereotypes are beneficial or detrimental to women today?
I know they survive because if I meet someone new and that person asks me what I teach, I've learned not to say women's studies. If it's someone I know doesn't know anything about me, because
What do you say?
I say literature because I also teach literature.
That's a good idea. Right.
Because I'll get, oh, you don't look like one of them. And then I think, well, what does one of them look like? You know, what am I I don't know what the stereotype, yes I do too. Or there will be this immediate sort of backing off, as though they don't know how to deal with me because I teach about things that have to do with women. I think the stereotype is very much alive and well.
Do you think that has something to do with Ira not being able to go through?
Yes, and the fact that Phyllis Schlafly is terribly well organized and terribly well financed, and that she has done her utmost to organize women against women. I think it's amazing for a very small group, which is what Schlafly's group is. They've done an enormous amount of harm, especially as far as other women are concerned.
Okay, I'm kind of curious about something. It'll kind of be a prelude to one of the shows that we're going to be doing, but have you found that these attitudes, how bad have they influenced domestic abuse?
That's difficult to answer because I think for so long domestic abuse was simply overlooked. It was assumed almost that in most families some kind of physical violence would take place. We're hearing about it now because women are at last feeling they may say something. But I'm not sure how much the incidence has grown. It's the reporting that's grown. But certainly the attitude is that the wife is property and he may do with that property what he wishes.
Okay, we have a phone call coming in. Hi, this is John DeRozzi. You're on Weekend.
I've got a question for Dr. Brickley.
Yes, go ahead.
I'm a student now at UWGB, and I've just lately been awakened to the women's movement. And it seems to me like people are, I've got a question in my mind as to whether the discrimination against females is discrimination against the sex of the female or a group of people. Do you see what I'm trying to say? How can they determine whether or not the discrimination is against females or females as a group of people?
I think I can answer this right. The problem, one of the major problems is that women have simply been lumped together as though all women are alike. Therefore, if one woman is, quote, stupid, all women are stupid. If one woman is sharp-tongued, all women are sharp-tongued. That was a nice euphemism. I think it's the whole gender being lumped together that's discriminated against. Does that answer it?
Yeah, I guess, but I'm wondering how they can determine that there's that there's discrimination against females. How can they differentiate between the discrimination against female and the discrimination between, say, a group of people? Say, like, the blacks are discriminated against as a group of people, the females.
I think it's the same sort of thing. I think the fact that blacks as a group, as a whole, has been discriminated against, it's the same thing in discrimination against women.
Yeah.
It's sort of, you've seen one woman, you've seen them all.
Okay.
So stereotyping.
Right.
Right.
Okay, well, we have to wrap it, so thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. I guess wrapping it up, do you have any suggestions for the woman who wants to better herself and in what ways she can do that?
My obvious answer is to go back to school, but that's not the answer for everybody, I don't think. I think, first of all, women have to learn that it's all right to think about themselves. I think women have been taught, socialized, that they ought to think of everyone else first. And for many women, it's extraordinarily difficult to say, no, I'm going to do this because I want to do it. And I think that's the first hurdle they have to make, and from then on, decide what it is. It's not selfish. It's self-preserving, I guess is the way I put it. But most women have a terrible time with that.
One last quick question. What about the woman who really wants to have a family?
I
mean,
think
is there
that's
still
wonderful.
room for that?
Absolutely. I mean, I loved having children. I thought I could have gone on forever. Well, but when I was having children, it was the accepted thing for women to do. I feel dreadfully sorry for women today who love children and want to be parents, who are being, in essence, discriminated against because they're not out in the job market. More power to them if that's what they want and can do. It's a matter of choices in the end.
Great.
We're going to go to another phone call here. Hi, this is John DeRozzi. You're on the air.
Okay, go ahead.
Hello?
Yes?
Yes. Go ahead.
Go ahead. Hello?
Hello?
Yes, we're here. Can you hear us?
My mom speaks with Boston Millie Pies, and
Yeah, we're going to have to say goodbye. Thank you.
Yes, former student.
Okay, right. We get a few, so. Okay, well,
Okay.
listen, Dr. Brickley, we just want to thank you for joining us here.
Yes, and thank you for enlightening us on a few subjects.
Thank you.
Okay.
It's been very pleasant.
Okay. Coming up next, we have some video footage of the Willie and Waylon concert.
Okay, in fact, from what I understand, they've made something like 40,000 beer drinkers very, very happy. But there are only 12,000 there, so what do you say?
Lots of beer, lots of fun, lots of food, and lots of good music back at the Willie and Waylon. Unfortunately, we had some technical difficulties with our film footage. We have a lot of film footage of the crowd, but not a lot of Willie and Waylon, unfortunately. We did our best.
But no problem with the beer drinking.
Yes, lots of beer drinking, though. So we'll go to the video right now.
I'm in charge of giving these wild press people passes to get in so they can drink free beer and then attend the press conference later on this afternoon. No. How many crew people are involved in a production like
there's a
this?
lot of people.
What's the average crew like for Willie Nelson? How many people would that take?
I'd say we'd let in for Willie today, probably 30 people.
All right. So do you think it's about that for all the other bands or just for Willie's?
For the other bands, it goes down as the popularity of the groups go down.
Well, WGE, the radio station I work for, is showcasing the event, and we're all out here and having a real good time and really excited because Willie Nelson and Waylon Jennings are two country music Hall of Fame bound people, and it's great. I'm glad that we can get two artists like this in the Green Bay area. It's tremendous, and everybody's having a great time. And
You gonna stay around for the press conference later on?
oh, you bet I am. I'm going to be here until, well, I'm going to be here for a long time.
How often do you get to come out to events like this?
Actually, quite a lot. We work a lot with Carl and the Carlton, and this is kind of special, though, with the Willie Nelson, Waylon Jennings. It's one of those groups that kind of transcends rock country, so it's kind of big party atmosphere. It's a lot of fun.
It's called Weekend.
Weekend.
I'm Jay Johnson, and what do you think of?
We're on TV?
We're on TV.
Hi, Mom. Hi, Dad.
Crowd like this. I mean, 10,000 people, county fairs. You done a lot of them?
No, I haven't done, as many as Willie and Waylon have done, but
Right.
I love them. I think it's fantastic. It's the way I would like to watch a concert. I'd love to just kick back and lay in the sun and have a beer and just watch music. Sometimes it's a little disconcerting if you're the artist because of the fact that the crowd response is real different.
Right.
Because they're real laid back, but that's all right. I'm there to entertain. That's my job, and
You're so
I
far
love
away,
it.
You're so tiny on stage.
I'm
You're so
trying
tiny.
to grow bigger.
What did you think? What was your thoughts just before you got your recent award as being named the outstanding upcoming female vocalist?
Well, actually, I was nervous until they said my name. And we were backstage, and I was with the other nominees, and everybody was kind of like this, and I kind of put my arms down, and I said, now, come on,
yeah.
relax.
Did you know? Did you have a
No,
feeling?
I had no idea, because there's been a certain amount of resistance to the fact of me coming into country from what people consider a rock and roll background. And so I thought, well, it's nice to be nominated, because I was just a write-in, I wasn't even on the list. So when they said my name, I'll tell you, I wouldn't have minded losing, but it was a lot better to win.
Congratulations on your win. Having you here with Willie, Waylon, working with big stars.
I want to say to Willie if you saw him.
I seen a sign on the way here, and it said, Willie Wieners. I want to see a Willie Wiener.
Is this
Is
a
this a
thrill?
trend? Boy, I hope this is a trend. I hope this is a trend.
Well, good luck. Keep it going.
Thank
Thanks
you.
again. Nice to meet you. All right.
Okay.
Goodbye. Thanks.
Bye-bye.
That's Weekend.
Listening to Yeah. You've already been on?
Yeah. That was great. Hey guys.
First of all, Waylon, you've been on stage already. What's the initial impression here at Seymour and Allegheny County?
I think it's great. The audience is great. The weather's great. We're having a great time. And you were great.
Yeah, and I was great.
This is Willie Nelson. You're listening to WJLW, J96 FM radio.
Let me ask you, Willie, you've been up in this area before. This is a great summer picnic for you, but first time this kind of crowd. Your buddy Waylon. How can you continue this long?
I'm in Iron Mountain.
This big. Is it just going to grow bigger?
For all the
There's going to be a fade?
Oh, I hope not.
Hi, friends. This is Waylon Jennings. Thank you for listening to the best country music around, WMIQ Iron Mountain.
Billy Larson was here earlier. She said that country music is moving more towards pop.
I don't think so. I think there's millions of people who at one time were rock and roll fans or pop fans that are now listening to country music. And not that there's anything wrong with rock and roll or anything else, but there's a lot more people out there listening to country music today than there ever has been. Itself is very medicinal for all kinds of people, and country music is no different. It has there's a big need for people to hear their problems and their joys expressed in music.
Does this bother you at all, this place being sponsored? It's kind of a big, sponsored by a beer company and...
Oh, no. I just, I never had a drinking problem. I just had a problem with cocaine, And I've been off for about 14 months now.
What's it like?
It's, I'll tell you what, the best way I know to describe someone that's been on drugs and gets off drugs, it's like somebody that you knew because you were another person.
Why do you think that country music is growing so fast and people are getting so excited about it?
Because it's good.
Mama, don't let your babies grow up to be cowboys. Don't let them pick their cars and drive it over. Then I'll be doctors and lawyers and so.
Hi, welcome back to Weekend. That looked like it was a lot of fun.
It sure did. Our viewers don't realize it, but it turned our audience on so much they want beer in the audience now.
Yeah, well, Willie Nelson kind of has that vast audience appeal,
Yeah, it's called Rowdy Country.
No, well, country and rock, a lot of rockers like Willie as well, so I'm sure that the crowd really got into it. Sounded like a fun time.
Yes, coming up next, we're going to have Greg Reinhardt. He's going to be reviewing the movie Goonies, as we promised. And Mary Beth Meinke was going to be doing this her thing with her model from JCPenney still on.
And also, we might mention that Goonies opens across the country. So stay tuned.
Turn your summer on. Turn on to Cablevision. Coming on all the summer long. You get more with Cablevision. Take a turn for the better. You're gonna like what you see. More sports, news, entertainment. All for you and me. Turn it on. Turn your summer on. Turn on to Cablevision. Turn it on, turn your summer on, turn on to Cablevision.
Coming soon to your cable TV, it's the Nashville Network. All the great country programming you won't find anywhere else. Every day, morning, noon, and night. There's plenty of great country music, but there's much more. You'll see sports, nostalgia, conversation, comedy, and your favorite stars. And you'll only be able to watch it right here on cable TV. The Nashville Network is the cable channel for people who really love their country.
Hi, I'm Cookie. We're back with Weekend, and this is Mary Beth Meinke from the JCPenney Styling Salon and her model,
Donna Sislovich.
And also for your viewers at home, if you have any questions that you'd like to ask Mary Beth about summer hair care, the number again is 498-3737. So anyway, welcome Mary Beth. What are you going to be doing for today with your model?
What I thought I'd do was I'd show 2 quick hairstyles. One, if you're swimming and just getting out of the pool, something that you can do quick to just leave air dry, and if you're going to be going out later, another way to do it so it would look more formal for an evening look.
Sure. What is your background in hair?
I graduated from the Wisconsin College of Cosmetology about 5.5 years ago, and I've been working for Pennies ever since.
Okay, well, why don't you show us what you have to do here?
Okay, well, basically what I do before I do any client's hair or cutting, I basically look at their facial shape, and depending, you have to talk over a couple different things with your client to find out what their needs are and what they're trying to achieve in a hairstyle. And when you look at a person's face, not everyone can wear the same hairstyle. So some facial shapes are round, some are more long. And Donna has a rounder face. And I wouldn't want to put something like a bob, which is real popular right now, on Donna because it adds a lot of fullness in through the sides. So what I basically did with Donna is cut her hair shorter in through the sides and left a little more fullness on the top to kind of proportion it out. Another thing you want to look for before styling someone's hair is the texture of their hair. Everyone has a different texture of hair, and Donna has heavier hair, so her hair is going to go into the style really nice.
I see she has a perm. Do lots of people come in for perms during the summer?
Oh yeah, a lot of people like to have perms because they're easy to work with. It takes a lot of work out of doing your hair, something that you can fluff and leave go.
Mm-hmm.
And also you want to take into consideration their lifestyle. If they have to be to work real early in the morning, they don't want to be fussing with their hair, real early. So
5 minutes and out the door.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
That's what everybody wants. So what I did with Donna is something that's real popular now are mousses and gels. And Donna has, like I said, real heavy hair. So I took a heavy styling gel, like this.
And that's?
Well, this is the Nexus styling gel. And what I did was I worked it to the scalp and brought it out to the ends. And by working it to the scalp, it adds support to the hair, and which gives her more fullness. So if she's done swimming and gets out of the pool and leaves it like this, she's okay to go anywhere because it looks real cute just like that. If she were to brush through this, it would look dry, but if she leaves it like this, she'll have the wet look.
So can anybody use that product, or are there different products for different hair?
There are different styling aids for different hair types, but you can ask your stylist, which one would be the best, depending, on your hair. Everybody's hair needs something a little different depending on what you want to, your finished product should be.
Mm-hmm. Well, with a lot of swimming going on, how does chlorine affect your hair?
Chlorine can be real damaging to the hair because it strips it. If you have a perm in your hair, it'll strip it out. If you have color in your hair, it can strip it out.
And so that means it'll just take it out.
Right. It'll straighten it or discolor it. What you can do is a lot of professional salons will have anti-chlorine shampoos and good conditioners that you can use to help to combat that buildup from the chlorine.
Okay, I think we have a phone call.
Hi, this is John DeRozzi. You're on Weekend.
I was wondering if you could dye gray hair.
If you could what?
Dye gray hair.
Dye gray hair? I don't see why not. Just ask her.
Sure you can.
Yeah, it'd be nice to cover it up. I don't see why not.
That's a real popular question nowadays.
I have an appointment.
Okay.
If you call up
I'll
sometime.
leave some of my cards.
Okay, thank you very much, sir.
That's funny. Okay, anyway. Are there any hairstyles that are completely maintenance-free for summer?
Okay, there are some hairstyles like this one I'm showing on Donna that are easier to do than others, but unless you have a real gorgeous head of hair, there's very few people that can get away with just washing it and leaving it go. Either you have to sculpt it in some way or blow dry it or curl it a little bit, but there's, you really have to do a little bit with it to get it to look like today's styles are.
Is there such a thing as getting like hair sunburn? Can your hair get too much sun?
Yeah, your hair can get too much sun. If you're out in the sun a lot, it lightens the color of your hair and it sun bleaches it. And if you come into a salon for chemical services, say like for a perm, it can really dry it out. It really takes a lot out of the hair.
And a lot of girls put like lemon juice in their hair during the summer to lighten it up. Is that good for your hair, or how does that work?
If anyone would ever want to color their hair, I would recommend having it done professionally, because it just, it's better for your hair to, have it done by someone that knows what they're doing.
And I suppose if you put a lot on, you're going to get different colors, different places, and maybe so much in one area and not so much in
Right.
another.
And if someone, say with real dark black hair would try and lighten their hair, they don't realize that it can only lighten so much, and they'll turn a real nice, pretty color orange, which probably is not what they're after, but there's a lot that goes into hair coloring, so I'd recommend that you have it done professionally.
Okay, are perms and colors bad for your hair? A lot of people think that it'll dry out your hair will break or whatever.
Mhm.
And I know a lot of people do that for summer for a different look.
Yeah, there's very few hairstyles that you can get away with without having a perm or a color. Nowadays, perms aren't hairstyles, they're foundations for what you want them to do, and today's hairstyles are more airy and looking like that. But if you follow up with a good shampoo and conditioner, that's real important. It just helps to maintain the health of the hair.
And there's different shampoos and conditioners for
Right.
different kinds of hair.
Right. Mhm.
Okay. Well, you were going to show us an evening look.
Okay, what I was going to do with Donna now, this is just sculpted dry. And Donna has really nice hair. But just by fluffing it with a pick, you can turn it nice. Donna's hair is a little bit sun bleached. And I'm going to apply some more gel. And if you ever use this gel on your hair, you can be real generous with it, because that's the only way you're going to get it supported.
Now, would you use a hairspray with that, or?
You can, yeah. I was, Some hairstyles you might not need it, but if you like a real spiky finish, a hairspray can help support it for you.
So is that hairspray then that you're putting in?
Yeah,
or-
this is a fast drying sculpting spray, and where you spray it, it's going to stay. Doesn't move much. It just changes the look a little bit. Swept up on one side and
Yeah, that's real
you know,
pretty.
she's set for a little different look for the evening.
And what else is new for evening? Is there different ornaments to put in your hair, or different things that you can use during the evening for a different look?
A lot of people like to wear the big bows in their hair or have it braided up, and different things like that.
Okay, I guess we have a phone call. No, we don't. Okay. Okay, well, we don't have a phone call. Well, I guess that wraps it up. One other last question I wanted to ask you. Now, Green Bay is really known for its high humidity. Is there anything a girl can do to take care of the frizzies?
Yeah, that's a big problem, especially this time of year. There are styling aids. Why your hair frizzes is because the hair diffuses. A frizzy curl is a diffused curl, and if you use something on your hair to keep the curls in a line, like a styling gel, and put it on and just leave it dry and then gently pick through it if you want to wear it in curls or style it, that really helps to keep it from frizzing. A good styling aid is what I would recommend.
Okay, well, thank you very much, Mary Beth.
My pleasure.
Okay, and now going back to John. John, what's coming up next?
Well, as we promised you, we were going to be going out to Ashwaubemy Park. In fact, our cameras already have been out there. And our illustrious, fearless leader will be asking some questions and giving away some prizes. And so...
That coming up and more.
Right now.
Ashwaubemy Park, talking with
Brian Pizon.
Brian, and you said that you're going to be in some sort of a frisbee competition coming
Yes,
up this
I am.
weekend. What's that all about?
There's MTV contest down in Milwaukee. There'll be a bunch of professionals there, and then they have an amateur class too.
How long have you been playing with your bee?
Probably 5-6 years now.
Oh yeah? Pretty good?
Yeah,
Looks like you've been out a lot. You got a tan anyways.
Yeah. Drive truck and I get out to California, so that helps Frisbee too.
Oh, all right. So you got any plans other than doing the bee tournament down in Milwaukee this summer?
Well, they got another couple tournaments around the state, and I'm driving now. I stop along the road every once in a while and get into a tournament somewhere. And
So you do a Frisbee kind of circuit
Oh, yeah.
thing during the summer. Well, he's going to show us a little bit of what he does right now, so why don't you go to it. That's all right, keep going, keep going.
Try it again.
Okay, we got some more people here with us at Schwalbe May today. Who are we talking to now?
Nancy.
Nancy and Tom. Okay, Nancy, been out here a lot this summer so far?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, plan on being out here a lot.
Yeah.
Door County. Oh, okay, so your summer is pretty well taken care of with moving up there. Any vacation plans or anything like that?
No, not yet.
No. What about you, Tom?
I come out here about every other day. Whenever the sun's out, I'm out here.
Oh yeah. Do you do anything for a living or?
I work at Fort Howard.
Oh, okay. And they give you time off to go suntanning?
No, I work 3 to 11. I get out here before and on weekends.
Oh, okay. And what about you? Any plans this summer? Anything interesting?
Not really. Just get out in the sun a lot and work out and have fun, I guess.
Have fun. And that's what we're here to do, ladies and gentlemen, isn't it? Have fun right here on weekends. Well, hey, thanks for being so nice. And because you are so nice, we'll give you a pass, 2 free passes to any Marcus Theater in Green Bay here, okay?
Thank you.
So, hey, no problem. And enjoy yourself. Go see one of those great movies at the Marcus Theaters. And let's go talk to some more people, shall we? Hi, what's your name?
Kurt Goodrow.
Kurt and?
Michelle Klopstein.
Michelle. What do you got planned for the summer?
Not much. Working.
Working where?
Empire Drugs.
Oh, okay. And a sales clerk there, or do you make the drugs and distribute them, or?
No, I mostly check people out and help people in the store.
I water ski for the Waterboard Warriors. Right
Oh, you
down
do?
there.
Right down here,
Little
ladies and
plug.
gentlemen. We're going to be shooting them later on this year, and as a matter of fact, having the coach on weekends. As a matter of fact, we talked to them. Yeah. So, how long have you been with the Waterboard Warriors?
I've been with them for 3 years now, and I crewed Ski Cats for 2 before that.
So your summer is pretty well planned already. Yep. You're going to be doing shows down there. What are the times of the shows this year? Do you know?
Sunday at 6. Every Sunday at 6.
I don't want to get derogatory here, but you maybe could use some help on your tans. You more than her. So what we'll do is we'll give you a free tanning session at Madison Avenue Hair Designers, the place to go for looking good, and we'll give those to you, so use them in good health. Well, these are some of the guys you've seen on our bumpers today, kind of skiing around. Any of you fall? I wasn't really quite watching.
I did once.
You did once, huh? Yeah. I saw you drop a ski, though.
He dropped it.
Dropped a ski? Okay, let's go around and just introduce everybody here.
Chris Tree.
Jim Titler.
Dave Vilmer. Scott Bertrand.
Randy McGuire.
Okay, guys, thanks a lot for being on the show today, and we'll give you a pound of Fanny Farmer candy. You can go down to the mall and get it and just pig out. What's your name?
Kelly Sueda.
Kelly and?
Kim.
Kim. Any trips, vacations, anything, or just going to be sunbathing a lot?
I think I'm going to be laying out a lot and maybe take a trip to the dunes.
What about you?
Mostly the same thing. Planning, getting ready for college and everything.
Oh, where are you going to college?
Just Wisconsin College of Cosmetology.
And what are your future plans then?
I'm going to UW Eau Claire.
Well, Claire. You know somebody in Eau Claire, don't you, Joe? We'll talk about it later. Anyways, well, girls, thanks for talking with us, and since you have been so nice and talked with us here, we'll give you a free 2 free passes to the Marcus Theaters, okay? So you can go and see a movie this summer and get out of the sun, and so you don't get cancer when you're sunbathing or something like that. I think that's about all the time we have for today. Let's throw it back to the studio and Cookie and John, and if you don't mind, guys, I'm gonna just stay out here and catch a few rays. You want to hold on to this?
Sure, no problem.
Well, that looked like fun. What I want to know is, did Dan continue the conversation with the women that he was just talking with? That's what I want to know.
Hey, if that's the beach patrol, I was wondering what he's trying to bust. Right.
Anyway, our cameras are going to be out all over the Green Bay area, and we'll be giving away prizes and meeting you. And John and I will accompany the cameras once in a while, and sometimes our crazy crew members will be out.
Probably degrading you just as badly.
So you never know what could happen. Stay tuned, because coming up we have Greg Reinhardt doing a movie review of Goonies. He's from Frame by Frame right here on CPN 6, and he'll be up in just a minute, right after this break.
Wow.
Summer's here and the time is right for Dancing on Your Head. Beach Street on Cinemax in June.
And to think that it all started here in white America.
Summer Weirdness with Martin Mull. Plus, girls in bathing suits. Summer birthdays. Very hot, very hot. Summer music, new from Men at Work. More than 70 hot attractions in June. Summer's here, and the time is right for you to get Cinemax.
CNN tells it right. Your window on the world, both day and night. You will see faces that make history. The laughter and the tears, the hopes and fears. Eyewitness the incredible, experience the wonderful, the joy, the peace, the world within your reach. Experience life on CNN.
We're Showtime. All this excitement and more, 24 hours a day of blockbuster movies, original comedy, music specials, Broadway plays, dramatic series, family time, and late-night action. We're entertainment every member of your family can enjoy, and it's all scheduled for your maximum viewing convenience. We're Showtime, the most innovative television service, and we make excitement.
Okay, we're back here with Greg Reinhardt, and as anybody has ever seen Frame by Frame, they'll recognize him immediately. So, Greg.
Hi, everybody. Here to talk about some of the summer movies coming out. Whole crop of them this year. And for starters, I was in the first Green Bay crowd to see Goonies. This is actually the first live movie review of Goonies that you're going to be seeing. I mean, tonight you'll get them, tomorrow you'll get them, you'll read them in the paper, but weekend first with the movie reviews.
All right.
Okay, that means I had to get up early this. Yes, thank you. You can applaud. I had to get up early this morning to go see this one, and I was definitely not disappointed. As most people know by now, Steven Spielberg and his cohorts churn out movies every summer, and it's literally bringing money to the bank for these guys. You can count on their movies for a good time. This movie's no exception. Last year, movie review fans will recall I was slightly disappointed in Spielberg's other film, The Gremlins, okay, the tiny critters that took over the town. I found it to be pretty preposterous. Goonies, I'm happy to say, is a complete turnaround, and there's been very little pre-released publicity about this film. I think whetting the appetites for moviegoers. The Goonies is a story, in a nutshell, of a group of young kids, a child club, a bunch of friends that call themselves the Goonies, and they are out to search for a treasure. The treasure is the only thing that can save them from the evil rich people that are going to buy their parents' houses and break up the neighborhood. And of course, I don't have to tell you that eventually things will work out for these kids, but not before they go into a few hair-raising adventures. And just to quickly go over the reason that this film works, the reason it's good, is because the kids are really good, real believable. It's going to be a lot of fun, and fortunately, you won't have to worry about seeing all kinds of toys in the stores this summer, because I think Spielberg's got something bigger in mind.
Well, maybe they'll have little replicas of the kids.
Characters. Well,
yes.
see, now they could do that. I personally believe, and I'm convinced after this movie, that Spielberg is going to build his own Disneyland. Because this movie is basically a series of rides connected together, and it's going to make somebody a wonderful amusement park someday. As you probably know, have you seen the Indiana Jones movies?
Oh, yes, yes.
Okay,
yes.
Everyone in the country has seen them, and you know how they're nonstop free-for-alls. Almost the movie's described as a roller coaster ride, and they literally are. Now, I think adult viewers are going to get a little bit, are going to find it a bit tedious after all. They've seen this all done before, the fast-paced editing, the quick action, and the danger that we as movie fans know isn't real danger because you don't kill off the stars of the movies. So all the perilous predicaments, and I don't want to give away any of the secrets because of course that's the whole fun of the booby traps, waiting for them to spring. But the young cast features features the little Oriental boy, Ki Hwan, who was Short Round in the second Indiana Jones movie.
Mm-hmm.
Plays a young kid named Data in this movie, and he is fantastic. The neighborhood fat kid, the Chunk, you're going to love him. Kids are going to eat this movie up. This will be a movie that people will go see again and again because it is so fun. And only at a couple times I have to say that I kind of found myself shaking my head. But the small people in the audience all around were eating it up.
Spielberg has a knack of finding great young talent.
He really does, and the thing of it is, with children, it's either they're the hardest to direct, said Richard Donner, the film's director. Now, this is a difference between a complete Spielberg where he directs and he produces. In this movie, he was executive producer and he wrote the story for the movie. The screenplay was written by Christopher Columbus, believe it or not, who discovered Steven Spielberg last year when he wrote Gremlins. And this year, it's a great story. It's fast-paced. It's very simplistic, too, which is why it's good to take kids to, because they're going to understand it. There's only a couple, I'll say quickly, the only things that are slightly irritate me about Spielberg is he's sometimes a little insensitive in the way he treats certain groups or characters. In this film, or in the previous Indiana Jones film, you remember the dinner scene where everyone sat down and, they could barely eat, and all you could think of, what a strange and bizarre culture. And as we all know, India is a very beautiful but mixed culture. And so he kind of pays less attention to real people in order to set up the story. And in this film, there's a character who could only be described as a retarded person, a full-grown retarded person. And for the whole first part of the movie is seen as something very ominous and scary. And I think that little kids who already have enough stuff to be worried about are going to be taken aback by this portrayal. They're basically up against a crime family that are bad people, but a simplistic sort of violence. And yet there's the stock underground scenes of a Spielberg movie, the skeletons popping up all over the place. So it's definitely what you'd call Saturday afternoon matinee fare, and a lot of fun.
So I heard, did Cyndi Lauper do the soundtrack?
Does the theme song, and actually, at one point the kids are watching MTV and that song is on, which I thought they really sat on that song for a while because the scene was probably shot last year, So it and all the post-production, everything else. So the release of the movie, Spielberg is by no means a fool. His movies are marketable. They are products that can be sold to large numbers of people, mass marketing. That's why people with certain individual tastes sometimes kind of step back from a Spielberg as, oh, this is too much, this is too wild.
So is this his only offering this summer? Or is he
no,
going to be...
there's another film coming out that Spielberg will be involved in, and just so I don't get the title wrong, Back to the Future is a movie about a teenager who goes back in time and meets his parents as teenagers. And the idea and the story has been done before, but Spielberg will be definitely have his hand in another film. But that's, again, as executive producer. He's now starting to become such an overseer on these films that other people are doing the nuts and bolts, with the expression that Spielberg is overseeing the whole production.
Do you think this is going to lend itself to a sequel?
This story ends, thank God, but the kids were so neat. I mean, you're going to love these guys. They're great. And we all knew certain types as children in our neighborhoods. And the movie also sets up a couple other, real quickly, things. Rich people are seen as negative in this film, whereas in E.T. the kids they had more toys than they knew what to do with. These kids are smart. They're not that rich, and so they invent their own little games and stories. And in finding a treasure map upstairs in an attic, it just starts this whole adventure that's going to be a lot of fun for the whole family.
Quickly, what other movies are
A few
coming out
other
this
movies.
summer?
I saw Rambo already. I'm convinced Sylvester Stallone is sort of the John Wayne of the 80s. Macho, can't get enough pain. He's every man in a sense. We in the audience sat and watched him escape from the evil North Vietnamese, and we know that we could do it if only we could be there instead of him.
Okay, well, listen, Greg, that sounded just fantastic.
Okay.
I'm sure everybody's going to want to go see Goonies.
Yeah,
I know I will.
Is that showing tonight?
Yeah, it's at the Bay Park Square, and it runs all the time. Good thing about Bay Park too, for matinee fans, if you work at night, you can't always make it out to the movies. Those movies run during the day, so you can pretty much go see it. Avoid the crowds, avoid the rush, but there's going to be one there.
Okay, thanks a million,
Sure.
Greg.
Thank you.
Glad to be here.
Okay.
Okay, I guess that does it for our last show, huh?
Mm-hmm.
I want to thank our guests, Dr. Julie Brickley,
And, of course, Mary Beth Mankey and her lovely assistant here.
and also Greg Reinhardt for doing a great job on reviewing Goonies. Coming up next week, we hope to be doing an interview with Gallagher,
So we're not sure if it's live or if it'll be taped, but we'll find out.
and that should be crazy. We'll also have on-air personality Bill LeMay. We're working on that from WIXX. Hopefully he'll be here to share some of his thoughts about the radio business.
And being Green Bay's own show, we're going to have to do one. We've got to do it, an inside look at the Cheyenne Social Club.
Now this could be interesting.
Yes, that's going to be beautiful.
This could be very interesting. So Lord knows what's going to happen in the upcoming weeks. We'll have 14 weeks of fun coming up, so stay tuned for that. And I guess that calls it a show.
Yes, and
Cookie
well,
Dominguez here.
And John DeRossi, we got to say thanks a million. And I have this cup, and I got to say it. Keep your mug smiling.
This is Tonight on Cablevision CPN 6.